Hey everyone, as always, Dylan Miller Prospecting, and it is Paydirt review time again. Now, if you saw the thumbnail, you know I'm going to be using math to get the most gold and the highest ROI I possibly can from a bag of Goldbay Paydirt. Now, typically, I do know the basic ROI of a bag I'm going to purchase from them because they tell you the minimums in the vast majority of their bags. But I decided to go one step further and calculate the ROI on every single bag they sell and buy the one bag that will give me the highest possible ROI. Now you might be thinking it's going to be this one, the 103% bag that Goldbay sells, but you would be wrong. You also might be thinking it would be one of their buckets, and this is not one of Goldbay's buckets because your pick would have been wrong as well. In fact, to get the absolute highest ROI from Goldbay.com, you want this one. Their 3 gram less than spot build-a bag. That's right, this bag has the highest ROI possible out of every bag Goldbay sells. How do I know that? Well, like I said, I did the math. And in fact, let me flash up a list of every single bag of Paydirt that Goldbay sells with the ROI that they have listed. So here you go. Now, as you saw in that diagram, the 3 gram less than spot build-a bag has the absolute highest ROI. Now, I know a lot of you are going to be wondering how the 103% bag doesn't have a 103% ROI, and that's because the 103% is based without shipping. And since I calculate all my reviews with ROI of shipping, it has a less than 103%. In fact, it's got a less than 90% ROI once you calculate in shipping. Now, I will put in a disclaimer in this. Some of these bags might have additional gold, whereas a seller might put in a little bit more in a 1 gram bag, they might put a lot more in a 21 gram bag. So these are only based on the guaranteed amount of gold that you're going to get, and a lot of gold-based bags tend to have a little bit more than what is guaranteed. So a little bit more from a 1 gram will probably be much different than a little bit more from a 21 gram bag. So this is only based on the guaranteed ROI, and in this case, the 3 gram less than spot takes the cake with a 94.49% ROI. Now, I will say I calculated all these ROIs about a month and a half ago when I had this idea for this video, and then I calculated it all again a week ago, and in all cases, the ROIs, while might have changed due to gold spot, all kept their exact same spot in this list. Now, Dave may change his formulas after this video, so if you're going to buy a bag right now and you want the highest possible ROI, the 3 gram bag is the one to go with, and that's the less than spot bag. Now, I really wanted to review the 3 gram chunky bag, but the ROI just was not high enough. I wanted the absolute highest ROI. So let's just get to the video. I'm going to flash up the description, and then we're going to classify this down and pan it out and see exactly how much gold I get and what my final ROI is. So here's the description. Now, as you saw, a pretty basic description, doesn't give you a ton of information, doesn't tell you where the Paydirt is from or the gold may be from. Pretty much just says 3 pounds, 3 grams. So let's weigh this up to make sure it is the 3 pounds. It says approximately, so as long as it's approximately 3 pounds. 2 pounds, 13.5 ounces. I'm guessing that's approximately 3 pounds. Don't know if I'm going to complain about that yet or not, but let's just open this up, see what kind of gold we got. Well, we're going to see what kind of Paydirt we have. Hopefully we'll see some gold in there. Though it does say all the gold will be 10 mesh and below, more or less, so I'm not expecting any big gold in this one. Again, I really wanted to do the 3-gram chunky bag, but the video dictated the highest ROI, and this is that one. So this has some bigger material in here. Don't see any gold. Oh, I actually just saw a little piece. Oh, and there's a piece right there. There you go. Well, I don't drop it. So there you go. First little piece in there. So I'm gonna let you listen to some music and let's classify this down. Okay, all done classifying everything out, and I will say probably the majority of the material is in the plus 10, but just barely over these two. These two probably have a little bit less and pretty equal amounts. Obviously in the minus 10 plus 20 has the least amount, but I'll be really curious to see where the gold is. It does say all the gold is 10 mesh and below. I don't think I'll find any gold in here. I really don't. It's kind of sad. There's that much material, so I'm hoping to find at least one piece in there because that is a lot of plus 10 material. But I'm guessing the vast majority is probably going to be in these two pans. I'm guessing this is where most of the 3 grams is going to be, but the only way to find out is to pan it out, so that's what we're going to go do. But not until we check for black sands, so let's check for some black sands. Or magnetite. A little bit, not too much. That won't change really how it's panned out. It's not going to make it any more difficult. And again, really not much there. And nothing. There's really nothing in these. This should be pretty easy to pan out unless there's a lot of gold in this minus 40. But again, only way to find out is to pan it out. So let's be right back and do that. So I have some clean water, have my pan, have all my pay dirt here, and I do expect this stuff to clot up the water pretty bad. Goldbay typically does. And let's get started with the plus 10, listen to some music, and see what it does to the water. And hopefully find some good gold. Well, finished panning everything out as you saw, and also as you saw, it did muck up the water a little bit, but not as bad as Goldbay used to be really famous for. I know they did change where they're getting their Paydirt from, so it's not as bad as it used to be, but it is still a little bit murky, so you do have to take a little bit more time to make sure you don't lose any gold. And let's just get to that gold. And I will say I am really surprised at how much I found in the plus 10. A nice little pile, a really, really nice pile of gold there. So really happy with that. And that really surprised me. I did not expect to find this much in the plus 10, but I am not going to complain. And then in the minus 10, plus 20, even more gold, a nice pile right there. So really happy with that. And then in the minus 20, plus 40, even more gold. Now, not as big of a pile, but still a nice little pile of gold. And finally, in the minus 40, nothing. Not even one little piece. I was hoping to find at least a piece or two, but let's just weigh it up and see what we got. In the plus 10, $1.310. In the minus 10 plus 20, $1.210. And lastly, in the minus 20 plus 40, $4.85. So let's just weigh it all up and see. $3.000 on the dot. So we're going to be right back with the ROI and the review. All right, finished calculating my ROI, writing up my review. But before we get right into it, I do want to talk a little bit more about Goldbay's ROI and the math I did to get the highest possible ROI. One thing that really surprised me when I was going through all my calculations is the minimum ROI you are guaranteed. And if you exclude the camo approved bag and the learner's bag, as well as the 2-gallon bucket, which does not have a guaranteed amount of gold, and the learner's bucket and the camo approved bag are essentially sample bags, and you can't really expect to get a high ROI on those. But if you take those three out, the lowest possible ROI you will get from Goldbay, which is guaranteed, is an 81.05% from their gnome bag. And of course, when I did all these calculations, I used the set gold spot, and I did double check it a month later, and all the ROIs were the same. It did change, obviously, the price, but the ROI stayed the same. And to me, that is really amazing that you can have 12 different bags of Paydirt, from Snake River to Chunky Gold to a red clay bag, where the bare minimum is an 81% ROI and the highest stated ROI is 94.49%, which is what I purchased, the 3 gram less than spot Build-A bag. And I think that is really amazing. So now let's just get to the ROI of the bag I did buy, which was guaranteed the highest ROI possible on Goldbay, and that was their 3 gram less than spot bag. Now its cost was $166.95. Shipping was $10.95. So total cost right here, $177.90. Gold recovered again right here, 3.00 grams. And I will say, in my probably dozen bags of Goldbay I've gone through, this is the first time I've ever received the exact minimum guaranteed. And I'm not going to complain though, as you'll see in the ROI and the gold's value in a minute. Now, gold spot on the day this was received was $57.98, making this gold's value worth $173.94, which makes my ROI 97.77%, or on my scale, a 9.8. So I am not going to complain that I found the exact amount guaranteed, because I ended up with a 97.77% ROI. And that is amazing. Now for fun factor, I'm going to give it a 9.8, the same as the ROI score. I thought about deducting some because there was nothing in the -40, but when you're getting a 98% ROI, you can't complain about those little things. So fun factor, 9.8. Now for Paydirt description, he's only getting a 6. Dave really has upped his descriptions. He used to pretty much have non-existent descriptions, but he has added to them a little bit, and they are much better, but they obviously could be more detailed. It doesn't really tell you where the Paydirt is from. If you buy something like the Snake River or the Red Clay, he does have more details, but in this particular bag, there's not a great description, so he's getting a 6. For quantity and packaging, he's getting a 9. It was almost the 3 pounds guaranteed, so I gave him a 10 for that. And for the bag, I gave him an 8. And I think this might be the first time I've ever reviewed his Paydirt where I actually got it in a coffee bag. It is a step up from the old bags, and even before that, he used to use just the old burlap bags that were just horrible. So he is always improving his Paydirt, and I really like that. So for quantity and packaging, he's getting a 9. For customer service and shipping, he's getting a 10. It's shipped out really quickly, and Dave is always really good about customer service. You can always reach him on Facebook or through his website. So 10 right there. So total score for Goldbay's 3 gram less than spot bag, 8.9. And that's a really good score. The only thing hurting this score is the Paydirt description, and most people overlook that anyway, getting a 98% ROI. So all that's left is for me to flash up the score and give away a 24 karat gold plated dime. So let's flash up the score right here. Now before I give away today's 24 karat gold plated dime, I do need to give some shout outs to some of my newest Patreon members. And that's going to be Mike Reed, Jeremy Courier, and Casey Sring. So thank you all very much for joining my Patreon page. And if anyone else wants to help support this channel so I can keep pumping out these Paydirt reviews, simply go to patreon.com/Miller Prospecting. Now let's give away today's 24 karat gold plated dime, and that's going to go to Donna Corinne. So Donna Corinne, make sure you email me so I can send this off to you. And to everyone else, thanks for watching. Happy panning. And if you're not already a subscriber, make sure you hit the subscribe button below.